Good afternoon. In our conversation Sunday, we talked about the Lord's table and how all the disciples gathered around a table for a meal with Jesus. And it was there that he instituted the Lord's Supper at a very special meal, the Passover meal, that had very definite organization and a way of completing the meal that day according to the tradition that had been handed down since the times of Moses. But in each of our homes, we have our own family tables as well. And each of them, if they could tell a story, would tell of all the great people that have come and gone around our family table. I think of the time marks of our daughter who poked her fork into the end of the table and left some scars that are still there today. And Pam and I actually looked and found them. And they're still prominent, all 4 tines right across there. And just reminds us of a memory when she was less than 2 years old, probably. I also think of some of the important people we've had around our table. Great speakers in churches of Christ, professors in universities. Some people who it was pretty humbling to be around and to share the table with them, to share a meal, hoping that everything was cooked right and everything was up to speed the way it should have been. I also think of times we've come together around this table with people who we had significant disagreements with. In the world, we might have called them our enemies, but they were people we were trying to bridge a pretty wide gap with, trying to work out some of the details of our lives. It just makes sense to me that when we come together to celebrate the Lord's Supper, that we gather around a table that's filled with our own memories and history, our own awareness of each other's stories, a sharing of new events and new times. I'm hoping that as we continue to do this every Sunday, gathering around our family tables because of the COVID virus, I'm hoping that we begin establishing a new tradition, one that celebrates the relationships that come around that table to share in the body and the blood of Christ. And so I just want to encourage you, if you could share with us some of your stories from last Sunday, or maybe start making plans for next Sunday. We won't go into as much detail about the table in our future lessons, but we will give you some of the outlines you might need for some thoughts to take around the table, so that as you eat that meal that day, as you break bread and as you drink the wine, that you can spend that time talking about significant events, things that the Lord has changed in your life, things that he's bringing about even as you come to new realizations during this time of isolation from our neighbors, from our friends, and maybe some new insights into God's Word as you're studying. So may God bless us all as we continue this quest to draw closer to the Lord, and I pray that your experience around the table brings back some memories that enrich your experience as you bring your life before the Lord.